And we're going to kick off, Fraser, morning to you both, by the way.
Morning.
We're going to kick off with the Times and this line from Rishi Sunak yesterday that Parliament cannot bend to intimidation following those chaotic scenes in the Commons on Wednesday.
Yeah, so this is following Lindsay Hoyle's decision to break with precedent, to use a Labour amendment instead of a government amendment. More significant than that is he is saying that he did this to avoid essentially a terror attack. He gave quite an emotional apology in the House of Commons, saying that I don't want to pick up the phone and hear that one of my colleagues has been killed. He said that he won't go into details, but the threats that he's heard were so severe that he felt he needed to amend parliamentary procedure to ensure MPs' safety. Now, this is absolutely extraordinary. I mean, we know that there is an Islamist threat out there. We know that there's an Islamist threat on politicians. A politician, David Amos, was killed by an Islamist terrorist. Stephen Timms, the Labour MP, was stabbed by an Islamist terrorist. We had the Westminster Bridge attack targeting Parliament. There have been plots on Downing Street. One Islamist wanted to behead Theresa May, which a lot of people have forgotten about.
I mean, MPs talk in a very open way and almost in a blasé way now about the death threats that they receive on a weekly, if not daily basis. And
I think you have to remember that I think there's a bit more force behind these ones, if that makes sense. Because sometimes MPs can say, I feel they don't like rowdy protests, they don't like people shouting them in the street, but this is on another level.
Well, absolutely. And MI5 has said it actually Islamist terrorism makes up 75% of their caseload. That being said, though, Hannah, that he broke with parliamentary precedent. This was, and I think for many people at home, it's so confusing actually in terms of what happened and why this is not what you would expect. So it was an opposition day motion put by the SNP. Now, it is convention then to take the Conservative or the government's position on that, but not Labour's. We've also got Starmer saying he didn't actually influence Hoyle in any way. It all seems incredibly grubby. Then you saw the SNP walk out. Then you saw the Conservatives walk out. It looked like a school playground.
It really did. And, we've got to... There's a bigger picture here, isn't there? Because it's a fight on our democracy. The idea that that somebody or a group of people can affect what's going on in Parliament. And that's really what the problem is here. And as you say, it's quite grubby because there was a meeting with Keir Starmer, but previously he said that he didn't do anything. But of course, that is lurking in the background. There has been an apology as well. And as you say, a very emotional plea as to why Sir Lindsay Hoyle did what he did. So it is a bigger picture, but it is quite confusing, I would agree.
Do you think, Hannah, that Sir Lindsay Hoyle has done enough to survive? Having got through yesterday, I mean, on Wednesday night, it looked like he was out.
We were talking previously, weren't we? And I think he is quite well liked generally.
He's considered to be a decent
I think
man.
so. So I do think, and he has apologised. And
but didn't he show his political colours? The one thing you should not do as a speaker.
Exactly that. The political bias did seem to be there, and that is a problem. And there are a lot of people complaining and saying that he shouldn't be there. But I think he might have just done enough.
I mean, if we move to the Express, Hannah, this is the front page, and I think many people are asking the same question the Express is asking this morning. Just why didn't the police stop the anti-Semitic slur being beamed onto Big Ben? This is blatant. They were beaming from the river to the sea onto the front of Big Ben.
As that debate was taking place.
As the debate was taking place, many people are saying, what on earth are the police doing in this country?
Well, absolutely, and I think that is the big question this morning, isn't it? Why were they standing back? The pictures that we're seeing are of the police literally watching it all happen, but they're saying no criminal offence actually happened. This was a protest. They did...
But that's incitement, isn't it?
And not only that, we are there. The MPs are inside talking about their safety. How safe do they feel knowing that that's going on outside and nothing is being done?
I mean, if the police were suddenly to take a free speech absolutist position and say you can say, these things without any kind of repercussion, I mean, that would be nice. But we know they don't take that view. We know that if you misgender someone, for instance, or you say women don't have penises on Twitter, the police will come knocking at your door. Whereas it seems to be that if you say things that are anti-Semitic, say things that are endorsing Islamism. I mean, it's also true of the courts as well. I mean, we saw recently, 3 women who were essentially charged with being perceived to have glorified Hamas, and they were let off without punishment. So, you know, there's clearly like a two-tier justice system. It's apparently the police are sending the signal that it's OK to be anti-Semitic, but not OK to be...
Well, Braverman, I think, hits the nail on the head in the Telegraph this morning, saying Islamists are now in control, says Braverman, amid the speaker row. She's saying something that many people are thinking around the country, but she's been brave enough to say it. Or is she being inflammatory?
Well, this is exactly that issue being inflammatory, and she has been previously, and it has caused, you know, it's caused waves, hasn't it? I mean, this is how people will be feeling today. They will feel that why are some people allowed to say something and other people aren't allowed to? But what jurisdiction do the police actually have? You know, if they're not allowed to do it, they're not allowed to do it. Is that the bigger question here? Should we be looking at what we should be allowing the police to do? And
the whole atmosphere that we find ourselves in this country, because we're going to be talking later on in the programme about the rise in Islamophobia. We've talked about the huge increase in anti-Semitism, but also Islamophobia up by threefold increase. So a big issue, and the whole toxic atmosphere that we find ourselves in.